Hello, my name is Hugo.
And I'm Mia, and we're here today with award-winning author Tristan Bancks.
Hi Tristan, thanks for joining us.
Oh, no worries, thanks. It's exciting.
Let's start right at the beginning. When did you decide to become an author?
I don't remember actually deciding to become an author, but I always just wrote stuff. Whenever I'd read a good book, I'd always want to write my own stories. If I'd see a movie that I really liked, I'd want to make my own movie. And it just happened. I was always writing alongside anything else that I was doing. And in the end, writing ended up being my main thing. I'd sort of started out as an actor and in sort of filmmaking and TV production. And so that's why it's good to be back on the set with you guys. And I feel like writing chose me rather than me choosing him.
Are there any stories or authors that inspired you to write?
I loved Paul Jennings when I was a kid, and I loved Roald Dahl. I remember loving Where the Wild Things Are. And did you like Where the Wild Things Are too? Yeah. And then who else? And then when I was a teenager, I probably read more kind of Stephen King and horror books and watched horror movies and so yeah, sort of there wasn't as much young adult stuff when I was a teenager. So you pretty much went from like Chitty Chitty Bang Bang to Cujo. There wasn't much in between.
So what path did you take to become an author?
I acted, and while I was acting, I would get up and ask directors lots of questions and get into the writer's room and ask them lots of questions. And then I presented lots of TV in England for about 4 years, from when I was 20 till when I was about 24, and I'd often write the pieces that I would be presenting to camera. And then I was also writing for magazines as well. And then I guess I had enough writing credits to be able to sort of pitch myself to write books, and wrote some small books and then some slightly longer books, and then until finally writing 50,000 word novels. Yeah.
So your books are really popular with young adults. Why did you decide to write young adult fiction, and why do you think the messages in your stories are really important for young adults to understand?
I think I just remember what it was like to be that age really clearly. And I sort of write those stories for me. I don't cynically sit down and think, right, what would a young person of today think was a wonderful story to read? I just write the story that I like now and that I find interesting to read, because I have to read the book more times than anyone else. I have to read it like 50 times or 100 times while I'm writing it. So I really want to just entertain myself to begin with. And then I guess I have the reader, or I have myself when I was that age, in the back of my mind as well. Just thinking about the things that concern me and that I was interested in, and yeah.
As an aspiring author myself, what advice would you give me to become a professional author like you are today?
I think just writing every day and letting yourself make mistakes. Like, one of the things that really changed for me in having the kind of courage to go and write my own books was that I started doing morning pages, where you do just 3 pages every day, 3 pages in the morning, and you just start writing whatever weird stuff is in your head, and you just get it all down, and you don't stop writing for the whole 3 pages, and you read it back later on the next day or in a month's time, and you think, who even is this person? It's just weird, this stuff. But occasionally there'll just be one little idea and you'll highlight it, and then that idea might find its way into a story. So I think just letting yourself write the weirdest stuff ever and letting it be bad for a long time before it finally is good is really being kind to yourself is really the way forward.
So you said that writing chose you didn't choose writing, but when you were our age, so teenagers, what did you think you would be when you grew up?
I wanted to be, up until I was about like 9 or 10, I thought I wanted to be a police officer, but I think that was just because I'd see police on TV shows and it looked really exciting, because they're shooting people and stuff. And I don't think they probably were. Hopefully they weren't shooting people. But then when I was about 10 or 11, I wanted to be an actor. I always acted in school plays and then outside of school. And then when I was about 17, I started working in TV as an actor, and so and I did that for a few years. So that was the thing I most wanted to do, was act. You're doing really well on this interview thing, by the way. You guys are pros. Anyway, sorry, I broke your concentration.
So how did you stay motivated even when you felt that you were stuck at some times?
If I feel stuck as a writer, I just use lots of different tools. Like I'll use, I'll go to Google Maps Street View or Satellite View, and I'll go and look around the locations that I'm writing about. If I'm writing a story set in New York or something, I'll go to street corners in New York, or I'll watch like Times Square webcams and live webcam feeds as people are walking past, and I'll hear the kind of taxis honking their horns and things, and that'll sort of find its way into the story. Or I have an old typewriter and I'll get that out, and I'll just put some paper in and start bashing out scenes. Or I'll just get my phone and I'll just be jotting in a scene, or I'll go for a walk and I'll walk and write on the beach. I gather together pictures, I create a soundtrack for every book that I write. All of these different tools, anything to just keep the words flowing. Because the worst thing you can do is just sit there and get stuck and get worried about getting stuck, and then there's no way out.
You've had an incredibly diverse career, including working as an actor and a filmmaker. We are all passionate media makers. So can you please tell us a little bit about the television programs you have undertaken?
Yeah, when I was in high school, I would have loved this if we had cameras this good and we were interviewing people who came to the school in a space like this to create it. So this is a really good start. And I think just making stuff, making sure that you're always making things, and be it good or bad, you might create 10 things that you don't love before you finally create the thing that you really love. So I would say that's a really important factor. I used to make dodgy horror movies with my friends when I was in high school, and we'd use we had a lawn mowing business because we didn't want to work for the man, we wanted to create our own, be masters of our own destiny, and we made enough money to buy a video camera. And we used to use the lawnmower as a dolly. Do you know what a dolly is in filmmaking? Yeah, and so someone would be sitting on the front of the lawnmower like this with the camera, and then somebody's pushing it, and we'd used to be sort of tracking in like this, and it'd be like, and the lawnmower was so old that it had this squeaky wheel, so it'd be like, as you tracked in, it'd be like, and it was sort of added to the creepiness of the shot, so we'd actually leave the squeaking in. So I think just making dumb stuff and being, just continuing to do that and get experience is really important. And then when I was about 17, I put a casting tape down with a casting director who cast Home and Away and lots of other movies and things like that. And so I worked on Home and Away for about 2.5 years as an actor, maybe 3 years from when I was 17 to when I was 20. My last year of high school, and then the 2 years after that. And that was good experience too, because just like this, you're getting experience, you're asking questions, It's not the most, it's not Shakespeare kind of thing, because you're moving fast, but you're learning really fast from good people.
Yeah, so how does fictional writing for a novel differ to writing for a screenplay or something?
I think I'm actually writing a script for this Tom Weekly series. Both Tom Weekly books of mine and Two Wolves at the moment have been optioned by TV production companies, which means they pay you a little bit of money and they say, we'd like to develop this as a show and pitch it to networks. And so I've just been writing an episode of the Tom Weekly show while I'm working on another book. And it's interesting moving between the two. I think one thing is that with a book you have a lot more autonomy. You control it, and there's not really a panel of people who have input, whereas screenwriting and filmmaking is so collaborative that you write something and you submit it, and then a panel of people say, oh, well, why don't you try this and why don't you try that, and and some of the feedback seems right on the money, and other things you don't quite understand. So I think the one good thing about writing a book is that you are the director and the writer and the lighting coordinator and the sound mixer, and you're all the characters. You get to control the whole thing. And with filmmaking, I think there are more compromises, but it's also fun working